What is going on, guys? Back for the Love of Sports podcast. And man, I know it's been a whole week since I last posted. And everybody that tunes in, that supports me, subscribes to my channel, I do apologize. Been kind of a crazy week, man. A lot of stuff going on, but I am back in business, guys. We're going to be talking on for the Love of Sports today. NBA mid-season gradings on all the teams and what I think of the MVP awards and Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, etc. So let's jump right into this, guys. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, look at it. It's already mid-season in the NBA. I mean, I can't even believe it. It's already been, 4 weeks since I last talked about this. It's here already. All-Star Weekend is here already, and two surprise teams are still number one in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. The Philadelphia 76ers are number one atop the Eastern Conference through half the year, and number one in the Western Conference is still the Utah Jazz, having a terrific season. My God. I'm shocked that the Jazz are still number one. And, they're one of the teams that I said even last year that definitely had the potential to, get to that next level. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Bojan Bogdanovic, coached by head coach Quin Snyder, I think is the coach of the year. Unbelievable job he's done with that team. They're just getting better and better. And I thought early in the season they were going to drop off by now, but obviously that's not the case. They are legit, man. I do not, if I were a team, I would not want to play them in a 7-game series. They got tons of guys. Mike Conley Jr. resurrected this year. Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson. They got depth, man. They have a nasty team. That is a team that is a scary, scary team to play in the playoffs. I would never want to play them. And the Sixers are totally resurrected with Doc Rivers as the coach. Brett Brown, I even said the last 2 seasons was a horrible, worthless coach. I just think that he didn't have any control of the team in Philadelphia, and obviously it was apparent. They are number one in the Eastern Conference this year. They have probably the MVP this far through the season, Joel Embiid, averaging over 30.5 points, 12 rebounds. He's playing unreal this year. Joel Embiid is playing out of his mind, and I just want to know, where the hell has this been the last couple of years? Joel Embiid has been decent. He's been a top 20 player, top 15 player the last couple of years, but he's never been this. Joel Embiid has never been a top 1 player. Right now, there's no doubt about it. Mid-season, All-Star break, he's the MVP of the NBA right now, 100%. 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like I just said, I just mentioned the stats. 30.5 points a game, almost 13 rebounds, 4 assists, leading the Eastern Conference, very difficult conference, to number 1 seed right now through half the year. It's got to be Joel Embiid. It's got to be JoJo. And, I give nothing but props to, head coach Doc Rivers. I think he's done a phenomenal job. That team has improved so much. Seth Curry, the addition of Seth Curry, spaces the floor for that team. Ben Simmons playing out of his mind. One of the best two-way players in the league. Tobias Harris. No one talks about Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is one of the best players this year. I think underappreciated players in the NBA, averaging 21 and 8 this year. That's their third option, 21 and 8. That's ridiculous, man. No one's talking about Tobias Harris. I just mentioned Seth Curry, phenomenal season. Dwight Howard backing up Joel Embiid is helping. They just got so much more help this year, and it's clear, it's evident that this team is legit, man. They're seriously going to be a tough out. And, I think it's going to be them and the Brooklyn Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I just find it tough to believe that, hard to believe that the Nets are going to lose in a 7-game series to anybody, especially if the rumors are going to become true over the next couple days. If Blake Griffin signs with the Brooklyn Nets, my God, man. My goodness. I mean, what can anyone do? They already have James Harden. James Harden, since he's been there, has been, in my opinion, the number 2 MVP candidate in the league. He's been going bonkers, man. He is filthy. Averaging 26, 8, and 11. Leads the league in assists. Can score whenever he wants. That guy is the best player on that team. It's not Kevin Durant. It's not Kyrie Irving. It's literally James Harden. James Harden's the point guard. Kyrie Irving, we just seen it 2 weeks ago. He says, I'm not the point guard. Harden is. 100%. Harden is literally the reason why that team is playing so well right now. And Durant's been injured. He's been, out the last couple weeks, with a hamstring injury. He's been carrying them, Harden, almost averaging a 30-point triple-double through the last month almost of the season, playing crazy. And, throughout the year, I've said that Harden is going to be the key for that team to succeed. Durant obviously is playing great when he's healthy. He's been out a couple times with COVID, a couple times with the quarantine, a couple times now. He's been out for at least 2 weeks now with a hamstring injury. So who knows when Durant's going to come back, probably after the All-Star break, I would assume. But let's get into who I think, I kind of touched on it already. Some of these mid-season awards, and MVP, we just mentioned it, Joel Embiid, I think for sure throughout half the season has got to be the MVP. I think number 2, Harden or Nikola Jokic. Jokic is also playing out of his mind, having a great season. They just had a stat the other day. Him and Wilt Chamberlain are the only players to have 50 triple-doubles as a center. I mean, that is insane, dude. This guy is legitimately one of the best passers ever at the center position. I think he probably is the best passer, Nikola Jokic. Going off, dude. They're climbing back into the standings in the Western Conference. He's playing outrageous. That Nuggets team, another team that I wouldn't want to play. Look how nasty that team is. Their starting lineup, their bench, they're literally 1 through 10 good players. They have Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap. The list goes on, and guys that are injured that haven't even barely played. It's insane, dude, that team. I think Jokic has got to be considered for MVP. He's literally averaging, I think, 27, 13, or 12, and 8, almost averaging a triple-double as a center, as a 6'11 center. That is insanity, man. That is the most unheard of stat. That never, ever happens out of a center. It's literally unreal. And I don't think that people are, looking too much into that. The guy's almost averaging a triple-double as a center. That's got to be spoken for. So I think that he's probably number 2, Harden number 3, and then I think LeBron James is number 4. LeBron, almost had the MVP wrapped up, it seemed like, within the first month of the season. And, Anthony Davis went down. They had that skid that they lost like 4 straight games. They didn't look good, and I think that LeBron kind of, at least right now, lost the MVP as of so far. But he could recover and get it, depending on how much more Davis is going to be out. If he's out for an extended period of time and LeBron starts going off, I could easily see LeBron jump right back into first place in the MVP voting. It just depends. I think the Lakers now are 3rd in the West or 4th. I think the Suns just passed them, I believe, going into the All-Star break. So that's a little bit cause for concern. I mean, realistically, the team needs Anthony Davis back. And I think if they have Davis, LeBron will be an MVP candidate automatically. He's 36 years old. I mean, we're acting like this guy is having a bad season, averaging 26, 8, and 8 at 36 years old. I mean, and he's still an MVP candidate. So, LeBron James, terrific still. I think that pretty much wraps out the top 4. Like I said, if I were to vote right now, 100% would be Joel Embiid, Jokic, Harden, and then LeBron. So, on to Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year, a couple key considerations for me. I think it's got to be, and I don't always go with the Coach of the Year on the best team, but in this case, it has to be Quin Snyder from the Utah Jazz. Quin Snyder has been, I thought, a great coach the last couple of seasons. I've really liked him. I think he's made that team improve drastically over the last couple of years. And especially this year, they literally took that next step. They're literally one of the best teams in the league. They are the best team in the league right now. Not one of them. People still don't consider them the best team in the league. They are the best team in the league. They have the best record right now in the NBA in a very difficult Western Conference. They just had that All-Star draft. I don't know if you guys saw that, LeBron and Kevin Durant. They drafted Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert dead last, both of them. They're the last 2 picks. Durant, I think Gobert, Mitchell, no, it was the opposite way. I think Mitchell went to Durant's team, and LeBron's team drafted Gobert. I believe that's what it was. I'm almost positive. But they were the last 2 guys drafted in the All-Star team draft, which is insane because they have the best record in the league. They're like 2 huge reasons why they have the best record in the league. Donovan Mitchell is a stud, superstar. Gobert is not talked about nearly enough. I think he's a top center in the league. 100%. He's a top 3 center. He's a unbelievable defensive player, probably one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best defensive player. And then they have Donovan Mitchell, who's a scoring machine. He's 23 years old, I think still. 24, 23 years old, averaging 25 points, getting better and better. So I think that team has been, way overperforming what most people thought. And I think Quinn Snyder has to be, coach of the year as of right now, at least to me. I think he's having, by far the most successful season. And especially, I think the West is still a little bit more difficult than the East, at least what I think. But Quinn Snyder, I think Doc Rivers is another coach that you can really talk about. What about Thibodeau, man, with the Knicks? The Knicks are legit now, man. They're literally in the playoffs right now if the season ended today. Who would have thought that was going to happen? Julius Randle playing out of his mind for the Knicks. But, you got to put Thibodeau in, coach of the year consideration. That team is completely different now with him as the helm of the coach, the head coach of that team. And you got to put him into consideration of coach of the year. I think you have to. I think it's a shame if you wouldn't. So, you're going to put Tom Thibodeau over there. I think those are the top three: Quinn Snyder, Doc Rivers, and Thibodeau, in my personal opinion. The Knicks still aren't a top 5 seed, or they're hovering around 6, I believe, right now. But they got they have a great team. They have a great coaching staff. They have a young team. They're not a great team, but they have potential. They got R.J. Barrett. They got Julius Randle. Obviously, I just mentioned first-time All-Star this year, playing terrific. A bunch of other guys that are playing great for them. So, kudos to those 3 coaches, but I think that's probably, what I would vote for Quinn Snyder. Rookie of the year, I think it's got to be Lamelo Ball. Lamelo Ball, dude, is playing unreal. This guy's like his last 2 weeks of the season right now, he's averaging like 29 and 8. I mean, what the hell is that? The guy's a rookie. He's playing outrageous. He's literally a walking triple-double. He's averaging 16, 6, and 6 right now at the All-Star break. And that's only because he didn't start originally to start the year. If he started, he would be at like 20 points, 8 rebounds almost, I think, and then 8 assists. He'd be, insane. That guy is legit, man. Everything that, Stephen A. Smith said it best the other day, everything that we thought Lonzo was originally going to be, LaMelo is now. And, I said that going into the draft. I said, dude, whoever drafts LaMelo is going to make the right decision. He fell to 3, went to Charlotte, and he's doing this on a team that's dominated with point guards. They have Terry Rozier. They have Devontae Graham, who's been injured. That's why he's starting to shine. Man, what a mistake the team's made in front of him, man. I think that Anthony Edwards is good. I think he's very good, actually. I think LaMelo Ball is better. And I said that at the draft. I'll say it now. He is better than Anthony Edwards is. He's a better playmaker. I think he can turn into a better scorer. I think he's a better rebounder, even though he's a point guard. He's averaging 8 rebounds almost. So I think LaMelo Ball is definitely going to run to the finish line as far as MVP voting. Rookie of the Year voting is. I think you'd be foolish not to put him, number 1. And I think Edwards is number 2. Edwards has got to be number 2. He's playing decently on the Timberwolves. The team just sucks horribly. They're one of the worst teams I think I've ever seen. One of the worst franchises. I already touched on this before when they fired Ryan Saunders. Horrible franchise, disgraceful, abysmal, just horrific, horrible franchise. There's the reason why they have the number 1 pick again. There's a reason why that they have a top 5 pick again. They're just useless. And Anthony Edwards somehow got stuck going to that dreadful franchise, and I feel bad for the guy. But, he can only do so much there. He can only do so much. At least the Hornets are hovering around a playoff spot. The freaking Timberwolves are nowhere close. So I think that's probably why Edwards won't be considered for Rookie of the Year. I think if LaMelo Ball can somehow get the Hornets into the playoffs, which I envision him possibly doing, I think that it's for sure going to be LaMelo. And that's what I would vote for as of right now. As of mid-season gradings, like I said, impressed. I'm impressed with a couple different teams. 2 teams I already mentioned. The Sixers I'm very impressed with. The Utah Jazz, extremely impressed with. Knicks, also impressed. Like I said, very impressed with them. But a couple other teams I just want to discuss. The Celtics, man, what the hell is wrong with that team? They finally won a couple games, this past week. But, dude, they're having trouble against teams that don't even have starters playing. They had trouble against the Raptors the other day. The Raptors didn't have Siakam or Fred VanVleet. They won by 7. And it was close the entirety of the game. They almost lost, actually, that game. They won by 7 because of free throws, but they could have easily lost that game. I'm shocked by them. The Celtics have been backwards, in my opinion. They need to trade for another piece immediately. Danny Ainge needs to trade for someone immediately, or else he should be axed. He should be fired immediately if he cannot trade for somebody. Dude, this is the only team that has 2 guys in the All-Star game And I think they're 7th or 6th seed right now. It's unbelievable, man. Like, you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I'm not even mentioning Kemba Walker. He's actually playing decently now. He's averaging 18 and a half points. They've missed Marcus Smart in the worst way. They need him back, like, as fast as possible because they have no defensive presence without him. They need Marcus Smart, but they need a center, dude. I've been preaching this. Robert Williams is good. He's playing great. They need a center. They need Andre Drummond. They need somebody in the middle that's consistent, that can score, block shots. Daniel Theis is just not the option anymore. I can't stand him for some reason. I just don't think he's good. And that team has really surprised me, man, because I thought going into this season, I thought they were going to be, right back in the Eastern Conference Finals or very close to it. And it doesn't even seem like they're going to be close. I think the Bucks are better than them. The Sixers are better than them. I think the Raptors are probably better than them. And the list goes on. The Miami Heat starting to get better, getting healthy again. They could also be a problem again. But the Celtics, man, they're really surprising. They're surprising in a bad way. So that's another team that I'm very surprised with. And, to top it off, I'm very, very surprised with a team in the Western Conference this year. I already named the Utah Jazz. A couple other teams, man. Look at Seth Curry back with the Warriors. They're an 8th or 7th seed right now. I'm amazed by how good Steph Curry is. He's 32 years old. Almost missed the entirety of the season last year with an injury. Looks like he hasn't skipped a beat. Playing terrific. He's another MVP candidate. He's a top 5 guy. I said LeBron was 4. Steph Curry's got to be 5 on that list. Averaging 30.5 points, shooting 40-something% from the three-point line, 90% from the free throw line. The guy just does it, man. He does it every year, year in and year out. He's one of the best players in the NBA. That's a team I'm surprised with. I think the team sucks, to be honest with you, besides Curry. I think that Wiggins is decent at best. He's not really a reason why a team is good. He's played decently. Kelly Oubre has played a lot better the last couple of games. Draymond Green, all of a sudden, the guy's averaging, 11 assists the last month of the season? My God, he had 19 assists like 3 games ago. I don't know what's going on with him. He's playing amazing. That team had Klay Thompson, they'd be in the finals. They're just nasty, dude. And I'm surprised because, I'm also not surprised, but, Curry being back on that roster is making a massive, massive difference. I think Steve Kerr's done a great job with who he's had this year. That's a very surprising team for me, and I hope they make the playoffs. I want to see Curry back in the playoffs where he belongs. But yeah, man, I want to see what you guys think, man. So like, comment, subscribe, guys. Like I said, I'm glad to be back, man. I'm glad to be back. This past week has been crazy. For the love of sports, man, we are here and we are out. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get it.